Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Dr. Phil, otherwise known as Dr. Clueless. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today on our channel, we are going to talk about some tips when it comes to taking your baby, possibly if you have a newborn, as we do at home, taking them out for the very first time this holiday season. Well, again, thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time, my name is Dr. Phil, and a couple years ago, I know, right, Dr. Phil? Yeah, I'm the other Dr. Phil. A couple years ago, we had our first daughter, and it left me feeling pretty clueless. Despite all my training, all my education, being a father, when it came to being a father, it was like, man, I feel clueless a lot. So I wanted to put together this platform where other parents who might feel clueless, hey, we could come together and hopefully come out feeling less clueless together. So if that's something that would interest you, please feel free and consider to subscribe to our channel here and get updates as far as when videos come out for helpful tips like this. So let's get into the content. So the scenario is you have a newborn. It's within the first month or so and it's cold outside, but you could hibernate, you could stay inside, but you know what? Holidays are going to force you out of the house, right? We just had Thanksgiving here in the US, and we have the winter holidays, including Christmas, coming up. So what do you do? So first things first is, if you feel really compelled to, be with family at this time, that is certainly understandable. As far as when is that right time to take, for instance, your newborn, your baby out for the first time, I would have a conversation with your pediatrician first. It's hard to give general advice because I think newborns are different, and your newborn could be different from another newborn in terms of their immunity, their immune system, how developed their immune system is. And there might be a difference in terms of immunity, how well the immune system in the newborn is, depending on if they are breastfed or not. So those are things that can, play, if they were premature, things like that. So there are all these considerations that, first of all, in order to first make that decision as far as when is the earliest you can take your baby out of the house or expose them to the public, definitely have that conversation with your pediatrician. As far as us, and backstory is just a couple of weeks ago, we had our second daughter, and she is a beautiful 2-week old. And we had that conversation with the pediatrician. And, as far as her advice, she thought that special number was 2 months, hitting that 2 months mark. Maybe at that point, our daughter's immune system will have developed. In general, I would say, I would agree. I would say within those first 2 months, that child might still be vulnerable, in terms of being when exposed to germs in the environment. I would, agree with my pediatrician that I would not want to expose my child unnecessarily to, to the public, go into public areas, that kind of thing unnecessarily, like the mall, within 2 months. That's a rule that I think we will try to follow. So first, number one, have that conversation with your pediatrician to get that, that time frame when it would be right to take your child out. Number two, once you are okay with going out and have the green light from your pediatrician to go out in public, then it's just making sure, right? And this series that we're doing, I think it's important for us to, we want to do the right thing. We want to act as parents, and I'm gonna actually give you tips to, also act like we would as doctors. But I think sometimes it's just common sense when it comes to raising kids. And one thing we can do is just, think from their standpoint, like, what would a kid need to leave the house, right? So it's just basics, the things that you were relying on at home. Well, you're gonna have to have those things on the road, right? So you're gonna make sure that you're well stocked, well prepared. Got our changing table here just to demonstrate. We got our diapers, or pampies as we like to call them in our household. You're gonna need those wipes when that blowout diaper happens. If you can relate, please feel free to hit that like button or comment if you can relate to that blowout diaper is not fun. And then, one cool thing that came with a diaper bag that we were gifted, it comes with this cool like changing surface. So that's really cool that you can just bust that out and kind of make a changing table, changing area, pretty much wherever, except if you're going hiking in the Andes Mountains, then that might be a little uncomfortable. But anyway, so you just want to make sure that you're well stocked. And of course, if you're traveling by car, you want to make sure that your car seat is installed correctly, and just try to have that figured out. Earlier, sooner than later, so that you aren't, because trust me, when you have a newborn and trying to get out the door, it takes a while. So be sure to budget some time also when you're about to make that trip, just to prepare to get things together and get your kid together before you leave. So once you get all that, and we're talking about the holidays, so we're talking about cold season, right? So you just want to make sure that the child has enough layers. Again, a hack from our pediatrician is at least have one more layer than what you're wearing. Should be fine. I think that was advice more for being in the home, but even going outside, just making sure that they are well dressed. And what else? And so once you're on the road, and I hope that you also are aware of this thing that I also have to remember and try to do for our older daughter is, it is cold out there, and you are so tempted to put on those huge like puffy jackets or whatever, but they can interfere with the seatbelt system in the car seat. So that's something to be careful, to be mindful of, because it just doesn't seem to be as effective with that puffy stuff on there. We can maybe link a video down below so that you can see what I mean. Okay, so we've gotten in the car, we're off to our destination. We're about to go to our family member's house or loved one's house. And so what to do there? Well, you gotta be mama bear, papa bear, and basically we gotta protect our child. And I want this video to be permission for you to be all over it. When it comes to people touching your child, I'm giving you permission to be like, you need to go wash your hands. You need to use this here hand sanitizer. Here, I will sanitize your hand for you before you dare even look at my child. No, before you touch my child. And so that's just speaking to how important it is. Hand hygiene. There's so many viruses that can be spread through contact and through nasal secretions, and you just don't know where people's hands have been, you know what I'm saying? So in order to protect against that, hand washing for 20 seconds, I believe that's singing happy birthday twice, should get the job done, and that would be preferable to hand sanitizer. But if hand sanitizer is not or if soap and water are not available, then hand sanitizer should be better than nothing at all. So yeah, so when it comes to going into a house with other people, first, everyone, it's called in the hospital universal precautions. It doesn't matter if they look well or not. They got to go through that in order to touch your child. And then certainly if anyone actively looks ill, they should not even be touching your child, and probably not even in the same room. Like, you don't even really want to be in the same room with someone who's actively coughing, sneezing, looks sick. That would be a good practice to follow. And if you do get a heads up ahead of time that someone will be ill at the place, I would factor that in. I would factor that in as far as, do I feel comfortable going into that house? If they are, maybe, I don't know, and like, if I were faced with that decision, I think that would make me cautious. I would at least factor that in to if I'm going to that place or not. Because even if I told you, hey, what if they're sequestered in some room somewhere? They're not going to be in a public area. I mean, really, maybe their tissues are, all over the house. And so that's definitely something to take into consideration. Our who's going to be at the place that you're going, and what type of health conditions do they have. Are people in the house sick? Because you want your child to stay away from those people. So these tips, as common sense as they are, well, first I hope that they are common sense, but I mean they can have such a great impact on just making sure that your child, you can have that time with your family and have fun with them, and still not trying to minimize the risk that you put your child at, especially your young child, by bringing them along. So I hope that is helpful. Please, if you have had this experience and this dilemma of, do I go to the event? Do I not? Do I go out with my child? Do I not? When is the best time? Please, I would love to hear from you. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Even if you're not watching on the live broadcast, but you're watching on the replay, we'd love to hear from you. And I hope that you'll tune in next time. In the meantime, let's work on just getting less clueless together. All right, have a great one. Take care. Bye-bye, and happy holidays. Bye-bye. Do I have anything else? Yeah, it's still recording.